Hi, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm JC. And you're listening to Dude.
Dude,
Dude?
for those who don't know, we've tried this intro maybe 10 or 12 times, and we cannot sync up correctly. We try to say dude at the same time. It doesn't work.
I wish technology would get to a point where it could allow us to sync up the dude. Maybe one day. You know, we can't even fix a horse's bones, but maybe one day we can allow us syncing up the word dude to align.
That's why I won't drive a self-driving car. I say, you got to work on the syncing of microphones first.
That's a good baseline for just about any action in life, you know?
Once they fix that, then I'll drive the self-driving.
Getting in no plane? I don't know like what accent that was. It's kind of like a sassy Southern woman, perhaps. I don't trust them planes. I saw that video of that window. It came off. That boy sucked that boy's shit off. That's why I don't fly.
You know, something about that woman just makes me think she can make a really delicious goulash.
Oh, no doubt. She makes a fabulous goulash. How was your weekend, by the way, Mr. Skaggs?
You know what? Eventful.
Did you do CPR on a fox?
No, that was last weekend. That was last weekend.
Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
No, I worked on the garden with my son. Mm-hmm. We dug up some dirt. Got the weeds out of there.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. We are house sitting our neighbor's dog, Maisie. So Maisie.
Well, hold on. Are you house sitting the dog or dog sitting? Or is it your, because you're going to the house to see the dog. So really you're kind of doing both, I guess. It's sort of I guess you could say I'm dog sitting, or you could see I'm house, because you're checking on the house. Both are being checked on concurrently.
Maybe my brain doesn't want to say dog sitting because I think about sitting on a dog. That dog is sitting in my house for the weekend.
Wait, hold on.
In my house too.
Wait, hold on.
I'm not sitting on a dog. The dog is sitting in my house for the weekend.
Wait a minute. Hold on. This is a wrinkle. So there's no house sitting going on at all. It's just the dog sitting.
So there's a house involved, and that house is that the dog is in my house. But our neighbor's house, nobody's sitting in it at all.
So that house could have burnt down. There could be all kinds of terrible activities going on in that house, and you have no responsibility over that house. All you have responsibility on is the dog, which, if you think about it, is a lot easier to kind of ingest and go forward with.
That house is not my damn problem. She didn't ask me to sit for it.
You're right. Just the dog.
Shifting gears, though. While we were talking, I noticed that you have a new tattoo. Did you get a new tattoo this weekend?
No, I got a new tattoo.
Hold your arm. Show everyone. For people watching this.
Look at all those.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That one by your thumb.
Oh.
Yeah.
This little lady here?
Is that another lady beside your wife?
So, here's the thing. No and yes. So, is this my wife? Yes, to a degree.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's
that's what
the truth. Well, the truth of the matter is, again, am I married to this horse? I'm not married to this horse or this man on this horse. No, my whole arm is like an homage. It's like the Western art piece, basically. It's all American classic Western art that I put on there. And this little cow gal, is a pretty cool piece that I had identified for a long time and wanted her on me. And so what I've done to her is I made sure that her hair color was the same as my beautiful wife, Carol Ann. And I also made sure too, if you look at her bandana,
Yeah,
she has a red, white, and blue band, and which is kind of symbolic of the fact that Carol Ann teaches American history, and that's a big part of her. Now, I'm going to give myself kudos there, but I got in trouble for her, and here's why. So, when I went in to get the work done, the artist was like, "Hey, what color do you want her eyes?" And I said, "Well, my wife's eyes are brown." And she said, "Yeah, cool, but it's gonna look better if they're blue because it's gonna contrast better and it's gonna pop better." And the initial piece, I believe, has blue eyes. And so I just said, like any dumb man, I go, "Yeah, okay, that sounds like a good idea." And then Carol Ann was not very happy when she saw the blue eyes. She goes, "Blue eyes? It was supposed to be blue eyes."
Maybe you should tell her to get some color contacts.
Yeah, it's her fault. I need to topsy turvy it and make it her fault. I think you need blue eyes.
Listen, I got the tattoo. It's permanent.
It's
your
permanent.
Eye color,
but your eye color can change. Fixable. Let's get it done. Get it fixed. I snap like that. And it just happens. No, so that's my new, because I'm gonna do the whole. I'm gonna do the whole.
You're doing the whole arm.
I'm gonna do the whole arm. Yeah.
Are you doing your own arm?
Like, what do you mean? I'm doing my own? Like I'm tattooing myself?
No. Are you going to tattoo your other arm?
No, I'm just gonna do the one.
Ah, okay. Right.
I think that's always like the classy. I've always thought that was like the classy soccer player look, you know.
Oh,
and as you know, I'm a classy soccer player at heart. People often look at me and they say, "Yeah, he's J.C. Crum," but inside he's really a classy soccer player or sake player. Maybe I just drink sake and I don't know, play the piano. But classics. I can't say that. Classy soccer player.
Classy soccer player. You know who has the very few people that I think have tattoos, and I'm like, "Oh, that looks pretty good," is John Mayer, and he has only one arm tattoos.
I know that. Listen, old John. I was thinking of old John. I was thinking of Mr. Mayer when I've seen that tattoo. Yeah, I always wanted it, and as an adult. Anyway, that's boring. We won't talk about that. Let's forget about my tattoos. You know,
I'm just drawing parallels of your tattoos to old Johnny May.
To old Johnny. That's my John Mayer.
It's perfect. You look just like him. When did John Mayer come to your home?
He came over and that's all he did. He just kind of, "Oh man, you look unbelievable with those eclipse glasses on." Okay, Will, the eclipse happens tomorrow. It is a huge deal nationally. I think it's a totality, the totality of the eclipse. That's the word I keep hearing. And of course, I always think of "Total Eclipse of the Heart," classic song. What are you doing for the eclipse? And when is the eclipse? Because I don't even, when, do you know when it is? Tomorrow?
Thank God you have come to me, because I have none of those answers. We briefly kind of talked about this, but I would wish I cared about this kind of stuff, but I don't. It's cool. And if somebody provides me glasses, which my wife bought these, by the way, she's the good one who wants our boys to remember this.
Well, she also doesn't want you to go blind. I think that's the other problem. I think you do go. I think it will burn like holes in your retinas if you just like stare at it.
That's an old wives' tale.
What are they? Science is. I don't believe that.
Staring at the sun is an old game I used to play as a kid. And look at me.
Look at me. I'm fine. That's what those liberals want you to believe. Those snowflakes and their science.
You know what? Speaking of science, when I was younger, my mom had a box of Special K. And I remember I used to eat it because I had like little dried strawberries. And I'm like, this is
Oh yeah,
delicious.
it's like the space. Remember the space food? Space food was a big deal.
Well, this wasn't space food. This was like a cereal meant for
Well, no,
women.
no. I also do love that it was a because I love Special K, and it was definitely aimed at women. Like there was never a man eating Special K on the commercials. It was like,
Not that I know of.
God
But I
forbid.
ate bowls of this.
Oh, me
And
too.
it was around the time I got puberty, and like I got these weird little knots on my nipples. And I thought, damn it, it's from that Special K. And I was so afraid. I told my mom, I said, Mom, I think I'm growing boobs because I ate your Special K.
No, you didn't. I do. I remember. I remember the knots in your nipples. I remember you like. I
I
remember.
was terrified.
I remember at some point, like we were like I don't know, like playing a video game or like walking around. And you're like, hey, I gotta talk to you about something, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
and you're
was
like,
very concerned.
I think I have something in my nipples, and I was like, nope. I don't think I handled it with a lot of maturity. I don't as a seventh grader or sixth grader probably won't do. But man, I'm so glad that Special K didn't really destroy your nips,
I mean,
or you didn't
I
grow
was
breasts.
concerned. You don't
But,
know.
but also, I mean, you know, it probably how bad would it have been? Actually, it's kind of a win. You would have had your own set of knockers. You would have been great.
I mean, after the initial shock of having boobs, you know, I think I could have lived with it.
I think it would have been great. I mean, listen, there's people who are paying tens of thousands of dollars to do that by choice today. You get that for probably
By
what,
eating a delicious
at most,
cereal? Yeah.
a couple $100 in delicious cereal. I mean, you really were the winner.
Would you have been more or less better, like more of a friend with me if I had boobs, or less? Like, you know, Will's got boobs. Let's not.
Oh, I mean, listen. You're. I think again. I'll be honest with you. I mean, you know, middle school boob, like it's like a bug to light. You know what I mean? So I probably. Unfortunately, Will, I don't know. I mean, I would we have been closer? Yeah. Could it have created some sort of conflict? Because maybe I wanted to, like, you know, touch him at some point or something like. It could have created some bizarre, you know, friend relationship. But I think we would have gotten past it. You know, and ultimately, you probably could have made a lot of money. You could have just had people like, you know, pay you to touch them, and you could have made a ton of money. You could have really, I mean, you could have been like the first OnlyFans. Only Will. That's what it would be called. Only Will.
Only Wells.
Only
It's just you pay $5, you get one squeeze.
Yep.
$10, you get a double squeeze.
Exactly. And it's a win-win. Everybody wins.
Everyone wins.
It's great. I mean, there's very few real, true win-win situations. Right there, we just created one. Boom. I remember, I always think about this because I make a lot of tuna. This is how interesting our podcast is. I make a lot of tuna salad. I love tuna salad.
Content.
It's the content is so good. What are they talking about? Yeah. And Trey, my 1.5-year-old son, loves tuna salad as well. He's a big fan.
Since when have you liked tuna? I've never seen you eat tuna salad.
It's you know, it's something that I always kind of had a little bit of a, you know, you can't bring it to lunch in like middle school. You'd be ostracized. Imagine the kid who brought
true.
like
that's true.
You'd stink all day. It's terrible. You already stink.
You had it, honestly.
Oh my God! You can't, and there's no axe that can like wipe out the smell of tuna. That is you're marked, man.
Yeah.
You know, scarlet letter of smell is tuna. Anyway, so I was thinking about this because I've been using a lot of mayonnaise. Right? You use the mayonnaise, and I was told. I said, sorry. I remember being told this when I was younger that if you left mayonnaise in the sun, it would grow his hair.
Yeah.
How do you know that? Why do we all know this?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like,
That's
why is
so
that
crazy.
like a fact? And like, you like finished my sentence. You're like, yeah, gross hair. Everybody knows that.
Has anyone
Look,
ever actually done it? Nobody wants to see mayo go bad. Maybe that's why. Maybe
what kind
nobody's
of?
ever done it.
Is it like? Does it have like different hairstyles? Like
Like a pompadour, like a nice comb over.
you're like looking at it. It's got like frosted tips. Like it's like got like the early '90s like boy band. Like I'm like, oh, my man is from like the '90s. I got
Six mayos out there, and it forms a little boy band. I love that.
I'm playing like bye bye, but I like
Yeah, I love that.
yeah. That'd be good. That'd be great. You give it a perm. You can perm your mayonnaise.
What are you doing out there? Just perming my mayo.
That's what we should do. You know how there's like chia pets, and the chia
Yeah.
pet has the seeds. We should just have that, but you cover it in mayonnaise
Love
and
it.
leave it in the sun, and then it has hair all over it, and you can do all kinds of things. That's our $1 million idea.
Hey, you gave me $1 million idea on top of that $1 million idea.
Yes.
Has anyone thought? I'm going all baldy up here.
Oh, all right.
Spread my head full of mayo. Sit out in the sun for 2 days. Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh my God, we can solve male pattern baldness
With
just with
mayo.
mayo. You got guys who are spending thousands of dollars flying to Turkey
Don't
to get
do that.
hair implants. They don't need to fly to Turkey.
Don't
They
fly
just
to
put
turkey.
mayonnaise on the
Some
head.
mayo, put it on your head and some turkey. I love it.
And eat some turkey. Use some of that extra. Make a nice turkey salad sandwich.
Get the pickles involved.
Oh, it's delicious. Anyway, so yeah, I have no interest. The eclipse itself.
Yeah.
I have very little to no interest in it. My neighbors are driving. They're going to New York to like see it.
Yeah. No, I have multiple friends like traveling to like
People are very psyched about
Yeah.
this.
my father and mother-in-law are driving out to Missouri to their farm to go watch it. Like that's how like
I
Yeah.
didn't know people were that into it. Like, is it just one of those like closet things that like people are really into the moon and stuff, but they just don't talk about it until like this, and then it's like,
You know why it doesn't interest me? Because I know when I'm done seeing it, I'm like, it's probably like what 5 minutes total.
it's just okay. So let me
kind of like,
kind of give you an analogy here. All right, you're a big Cardinals fan. Grew up a big
No,
Cardinals
no.
fan. Well, now you're a Brewers fan. You've been converted, but you grew up a Cardinals fan.
Right,
Now you're a
yeah,
Brewer-
right.
Let's just say, okay, let's say again, you're a diehard Brewers fan. You lived in Milwaukee. You adopted the team. That is your team.
Yes.
You know when the season starts. People know you. They know you're a Brewers fan, right?
Right.
If they made the World Series, it would be no surprise to anybody that you would want to go to a game.
100%.
If I was like, hey, I'm going to drop $1,000 to go to that Brewers game and fly across the country, that would be a surprise to you, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I can see
That's
that.
kind of how this eclipse thing sounds. I feel like nice guy, love the family. I've never heard him speak about the moon once. He's never just talked about the moon or the sun to me. Kind of feels like a bandwagon fan of the moon.
Yeah.
I think we got a
Yeah.
lot of moon bandwagoners.
That's a good analogy actually. Now that you say it that way, that makes sense.
These bandwagon sun and moon fans, get out of here. I want you talking about the moon all day long if you're really going to get this psyched to drive somewhere to see this thing.
Basically what's happening is it's going to be night for like 5 minutes and it's going to be back to day. That's it.
I mean,
I can make that happen right now. Watch this. Watch.
ooh,
Okay, so my son, my wife is trying to get my son psyched about it. My 4-year-old, and
what is she doing? What is she doing to pump him up?
He honestly has no idea what's happening. He said, so these came in the mail, and he got them. He goes the my son has a big lisp, so and he said his W's are his R's are W's. So he goes, Mama got glasses, and she said we're gonna go to heaven to see God and the sun. And I thought, you're gonna be so disappointed. You're not seeing God. You're not seeing the sun. In fact, you're going to see the opposite of that. You're going to see not the sun.
Well, I'm kind of worried that your wife is like joined a cult and she's like trying to convert your son. I'm not quite sure that description fits anything.
To be fair, I think he just kind of hears what he wants to hear.
Well,
Somehow he's just like, oh, I think I'm going to go see God. Last night, or sorry, 2 nights ago, Jordan and my wife and I were watching Password with the host Kiki Palmer. It's a great show.
Yeah.
And they had a guest on, and they were saying, oh, he's really good at voguing. And I thought, what is voguing? I don't know what this is. And he started to do it, and it's a dance I've started to see over the last maybe 5 or so years. I can't even attempt to like, you know what I'm talking about.
I look like Squidward, like when I'm doing it.
Yeah,
I
just feel like I feel like a mother at a school dance trying to show the kids how cool it is to dance.
I get laughed out of the gay club so quickly. They would throw me out by their waxed arms. Out in the street. All right. So, something I wanted to wrap up on. Something near and dear to my heart. So, Trey, my son, is 1.5, and he's finally like starting to pay attention to television. Which it's so funny because like when you're reading the baby books and all that stuff, like you're always like, at least me and Carol, and we still do a pretty good job, but we're like, we want to limit screen time as much, and we still do, but my God, it is your savior so much when they can just like and you're just like, oh, I just need to breathe. Like this is just at some point, like, it's because basically at this point, like now that he's like crawling and climbing and he's like he's either trying to kill himself basically, or he's like, now he's starting to bite. It's just all these great things, so it's like, if you can just get him to sit and watch something and then I'm kind of interested, it's great. You can be semi-interested in it. Yeah, it's a saving grace. But anyway, so I was on Netflix and finally he's starting to watch a number of things. We like Peppa Pig.
That's a big one here.
We like the
Corey Carson. You watched that one?
No, I don't know that one.
Netflix.
We watched the Spider. There's Lucas the Spider. We like Lucas the Spider.
Never heard of it.
He's pretty awesome. But on Netflix, to my surprise, was a film that, like, I swear, like, I ran, like, the tape down. Like, I'm surprised the VHS even, I probably stopped working at some point because I watched this movie so much. This movie was Land Before Time.
Classic.
It's a classic. If anybody doesn't know what Land Before Time is, first of all, it's a big millennial. Every millennial should know.
Yes.
What Land Before Time was. Land Before Time. It's a dinosaur. Like, it's dinosaurs, right? So, like, if you're at least boy, every boy I knew, as a kid growing up, like, you're obsessed with dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are a huge part of like your youth. So, cartoon with dinosaurs in it. Instantly a classic. But as I rewatched this film, and it's horrifying when I'm watching it, I'm realizing I know, like, I remember every detail because I've seen this movie like 100, like it's
Mhm.
all the like tiny like nuances of the movie. Like it was giving me this weird emotional like rush. But I also realized like this movie is really, really, really depressing. So to take a step back, Land Before Time, it's about dinosaurs. It's basically the Bambi story, but with dinosaurs, right?
But even darker, honestly.
Oh, it's so much darker. Um, there's it's like these it's like all orphaned dinosaurs are together and they're trying to survive because there's been some like climate shift and the only place that has anything is some valley that you don't necessarily know, is does it exist, does it not? And again, you basically watch so Littlefoot is
Littlefoot, to be clear, is the main character.
Littlefoot is the main character. Is a baby brontosaurus. I will mention kind of interesting other dark and again, everybody's family's different. No judgment, but it is interesting that it's grandparents and a single mom. There's no conversation about dad. We don't really know where dad went. That's okay. But that's sort of an interesting, like, okay, there's no dad here. That's okay. Um, and then mom gets killed by what they call a sharp tooth, right? Which is a T-Rex. Other weird thing about Land Before Time, Will, because I think you went back and rewatched it. All the dinosaurs talk. Sharp tooth does not talk. Does not have the ability to talk.
Yeah, he's just hungry for other dinosaur.
He just wants to eat dinosaur.
That's all he wants to do.
So you actually see, like, again, this is a movie I watched at like 3 or 4. Like you see an image of like the T-Rex like taking chunks out of mom dinosaur and then mom dinosaur like slowly dying in front of Littlefoot. And then Littlefoot is like depressed for like a good, like, I would say like fifth of the film, because as he should be, because he just witnessed his mother dying. He's not eating. He doesn't want to like hang out with the other dinosaurs. And then finally, I think he comes to the resolution: I'm gonna die if I don't do something. That he gangs up. He befriends these other dinosaurs: Sarah, Ducky, Petrie, Spike, and they realize they have to go to this valley to survive. The movie's only an hour and 6 minutes long because I ended up doing a little bit of research because they had, as dark as the film is, it was way, way darker. And they had to like cut out all the super, super dark stuff.
Which is nuts because it's already like kind of depressing.
It's only an hour. That's insane too. That like this was. Can you imagine going to the theater? Because like the idea is if you go to the movie theater, right? It's kind of a great thing as a parent because like you're set to just be able to turn off your brain for like 3 hours, right? The movie itself should at minimum be an hour and a half long. At minimum, it's probably going to be closer to an hour 45, even if it's an animated feature. And then you got the previews, you got all that stuff. Can you imagine how upset would you be in the nowadays if you were to like spend, what is it, $15 for a ticket and you go to the movie theater and it's an hour and 6 minutes?
I don't know. Actually, I think movies are too long these days.
Well,
I can't pay attention.
I would agree with that, but an hour and six is. I'm saying, give me a good 90 or even an hour 45. That's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
That's the sweet spot. An hour's short, dude. An hour. That is, dude. That's a sermon right there. You know.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's all that is. But yeah, it was crazy going back and watching it. It was just so. It was dark, man. It was really, really dark, and I'm like, I can't believe that like this was allowed to be made. And then I think about like who made it, and it was George Lucas and Steven Spielberg who produced this thing. And I'm like, you guys knew better. What are you doing?
To their credit, I think it was a very successful movie. I think the mark of a successful movie is a lot of
No,
sequels.
you're right. No, you're right.
Land Before Time has had like 6 sequels.
Oh, it has like 20.
It's crazy.
It is crazy, but it's just crazy that first. I mean, it is so sad, so dark. And then they had Diana Ross. I didn't realize it was Diana Ross. I knew there was a song at the end. Didn't realize it was sung by Diana Ross. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But
so I was doing my research on it, and the girl who plays Petrie, is that what it is?
yeah, is it the flying dinosaur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the little orphan dinosaurs. The girl who plays it, at the age of 10, the actress who voiced it, at the age of 10, her dad killed her and set the house on fire. It's crazy. She had it's super sad. Her dad was like super abusive, and one morning just shot her while she was asleep and then set his house on fire. Like, everything that touches that movie is just sadness.
Yeah, right? Oh my god, this movie should have never come out. This movie
It's so depressing.
evil. Land Before Time. And again, I watched that movie. Like, it was horrifying rewatching it and being like, "Oh yeah, I know that." Like little weird details in the movie that you like when you start especially as a child, when you had like the kids these days won't understand because they have every movie at their fingertips, but like you would only have, right? I don't know about you, but we had like 10 movies. That was it, and you just watched like them 100 times.
Yeah, We Sing in Sillyville. That was mine.
Yeah, and you just
rookie of the year. That's it.
Yeah, you just watch them literally 100 times. And that's just what. So like you start noticing, even as a child, you start noticing like really fixating on really weird details of the film, which like I remembered all these years later. I'm like, oh yeah, the water in the star, the leaf, the star leaf. I remembered like the reflection and like how that looked, and like all these like weird and the dinosaur rock, like. Because I remember as a child just being like, oh, that looks like a bronze. All those things, because you watch it 100 times. It was crazy. That's insane, though. You get killed there. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. As a parent, when you watch that, does it make it a little more sad?
Yeah, I mean, I got really emotional. Well, I can't really. I also. I'm a bitch, man. I got kind of emotional watching that because I already had like the member berries of that film, but like I also have no excuse because like I went back and also I watched Lilo and Stitch with Trey, and I was crying at Lilo and Stitch too. But Lilo and Stitch is also like a really like sad, like that's a film about like parental custody. Like that's a really sad movie in and of itself too. And yet
I've never seen it.
I'm telling you what, the plot of Lilo and Stitch is
parental custody.
It's about the plot is it's this Hawaiian sisters. Their parents died, and the older sister is about to lose custody of the younger sister, and all of a sudden they find a space alien, Stitch, which is actually was designed to be a weapon, and then starts pretending to be a dog, and Lilo and Stitch happen, and yeah, it's pretty dark too. Like I watched that movie and I was like, I was crying. I didn't
if
want.
If you would have asked me when Lilo and Stitch came out, I would have told you like, 2014. That came out in 2002.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Came out the same. You know what's weird about? I don't know why I know this. That came out the same week, I think, as like Born Identity, I think, or like Minority Report, something like. I don't know why I know that, but like I do.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. So yeah, that was something that kind of tore me up watching Land Before Time, and just a movie did not need. It was a movie about dinosaurs, for God's sakes. It didn't need to be that dark. It just needed like dinosaurs. Like you have a hit on your hand. You don't need to like create a super dark plot.
You know what though?
But
Time now. It's an emotional movie.
yeah, it got me, man. It definitely got me.
Did Trey like it?
I mean, Trey watched it for about 20 minutes, and then he really wanted to put his blocks into a bowl. Trey's biting the couch now. That's his new thing. He started.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Does he see your dogs doing it? Like, what? Why?
I have no idea why he's. And then he bit me tonight too. I got bit.
You prepare for a world. My oldest son has bitten me so many times just spontaneously. There's nothing like it.
Well,
apparently, so much.
Apparently, my wife was a really bad biter as a child. Like to the point where like her mom like chuckles about it, but like she was like biting kids, and they'd have to like leave places like very quickly because she would bite other kids.
Yeah. Archie, my oldest son, was a biter, and he and his oldest or his cousin, who's the same age as him, they butt heads a lot. And so last Christmas,
like literally butt heads.
Like, well, no. Like they argue a lot.
Oh, okay.
And his cousin took a toy from him, and so Archie wasn't having him, and he bit him in the arm and made him bleed.
Oh,
my son is a biter. He's made me bleed a couple times too.
Well, it's like the ultimate like teeth and biting, and like the. I remember as a child, I was horrified. I was horrified of the idea of being eaten. Like that was the scariest thing that was the scariest thing in the world to me. Like I remember like finding out. All right, I'll just say it. I was really, really scared. You know, Child's Play, Chucky the doll.
Oh yeah.
I was petrified of Chucky. Probably until, I'm not joking, probably not until late middle school did I start getting over it. Like my heart would like palpitate. The only reason I knew who Chucky was, and this is the really crazy thing. Do you remember Homeland Grocery Store?
Yes.
Okay, so Homeland Grocery Store used to have like a lot of grocery. This is the sad thing. We have to like educate like young people if they're listening to this. Mm-hmm. So grocery stores a lot of them used to have like a mini Blockbuster, which was a place where you would rent VHS or DVDs for children. That's what that means.
I totally forgot about this.
They would have these in them. It was like it usually wasn't a great selection, but they would have something in it. Well, right by the deli counter, they had the movies, and they had Child's Play, and like they had that doll with a knife with like I think. And here's the thing. I knew nothing about the movie. I didn't have to know anything about the movie. All I did was see that picture, and that picture scared me to death. But get this. So I was scared of Chucky for years. Finally, my dad told me he kills people with a knife. And for me, but no, listen. For me, I had a sense of relief because up until that point, I thought Chucky ate people.
Like he's cutting it up like a steak and...
No. I literally thought he would just eat you. And like eating people was scary. A knife is not as scary as to a child. I don't know why, but in my brain I was like...
to you, yeah.
Yeah, to me, I was like, knife, not scary. Something that would eat me, scary. That was the logic my brain followed. I don't know. That may be a kid logic thing. I would wonder if you like polled 100 kids, if you're like, what's scary? A knife, a weapon, or the idea that this is going to eat you? I'd be willing to bet most of them would say eating. And I just think like biting, like all that, it's a thing.
Interesting. So, do you think your dad knew, like, oh, if I just tell JC, oh no, he just kills people, that was going to be comforting to you?
I don't know. Joel is like the sweetest man in the world, but he did stir the pot a lot. Like the more I like look back at it, like he lied to me a lot as a child. Like he would just like they would always be like very like sweet white lies, but he did it regularly, and he would just kind of like walk away. Like he told me at one point that like uh that him and one of my uncles lived in a whale for a couple of days when they went to Alaska or the North Pole, and I believed it for years. He would say, he would lie about his profession. He was a doctor.
What did he say he did?
He'd be like, I'm a doctor, I'm this, I'm also this.
Your dad told you he was a doctor?
Yeah, he would say some of these things, and you just kind of said, oh, okay. I mean, he would just.
No way. Your dad told you at one point he was a doctor.
You know what? Maybe the doctor part was my grandfather. My grandfather.
So you just weren't listening.
That very well could have been. That was often the problem. No, maybe it's Poppy. Poppy definitely lied about his profession. Poppy told us he was a professional at a lot of different things. Everything. Yeah.
Okay.
But my dad would. But again, my dad would. He would say things and then walk off. Like he would do those sorts of. For as sweet as Joel was, he had like a certain rules. He had very like one of the rules that he had was like he was very. It was really interesting. Like there was a point we used to go whenever we went down to Texas. We would go to Six Flags as kids, and I was always there was the Texas Giant there, which is like one of the largest wooden roller coasters, and my dad, like, he was like, "You're gonna go on this," and I was like, "What?" And it was like a rite of passage, and I didn't want to go on it. And in fact, I cried hysterically for like 45 minutes while in line. But he was like, "You're gonna do this. You're like, this is like you're like." It was like I've never seen my dad like. I don't even know like to this day if there's anything he's been like more passionate about. But he was like, "This is good for you. You have to like."
So do you appreciate it now?
I don't really know. It was just in retrospect, it was just a roller coaster. I enjoyed it. I was really glad that I did it because I think in some way it did give me a confidence. It did give me, because, back then, right? Like, if you think about it, like on the playground, like you really had like the list of accomplishments you could have, one of which would have to be like, what's the big, like if I was just meeting you, Will, and I was sizing you up, right? And you said, well, I went on the Texas Giant, I would instantly be like, all right, this guy, it's like it's the equivalent of, where did you go to college?
Right.
Like, oh, I went to Yale. Oh, I went to Brown University. Okay, all right. I rode the Texas Giant. Yeah.
You know what? I think every dad has done that to their son, because when I was middle school, I played baseball. My dad's a big baseball guy, and I loved all sports, but my dad really wanted me to play baseball. He never forced me, but he really wanted me to play baseball. And so I played for a competitive team growing up, and I was good, but it became apparent when I was like in 7th grade that I was in a tournament, and my dad realized, I think Will's afraid of getting hit by the ball, because
as you should be.
When the ball would come a little close, because 7th grade, and I played for a grade older than me, so I was like getting exposed to better competition. He would notice that I kind of when the ball come close, jump back. And it was in a tournament, so it was in between games. He said, "Are you afraid of getting hit by the ball?" And I said, "Yeah, I just don't like it." And he said, "It's a part of the game.
Well,
It doesn't push you."
wait, hold on. Your response was, yeah, I don't like it. Yeah, it's a ball. It's a ball
It's a
getting
hard
thrown
ball.
at you. Yeah, that's a fair response. And then if your dad's like, it doesn't hurt, that's
No.
bullshit.
It gets
doesn't.
It gets better. It gets better. So I had about an hour in between game, right? So my dad went to my coach and said, "I need to borrow the bucket of balls." And he said, "Okay." So we went to a field that wasn't being used, and he said, "I'm gonna throw these balls at you. I'm gonna give you BP, right? I'm gonna throw a couple strikes. You hit them, but I'm gonna intentionally hit you, and you gotta stay in there and take them because this ball is not gonna kill you. You're gonna be fine." And I was like, "I don't want to do this." And he's like, "You're gonna do it." And he was like much like the roller coaster. He said, "You're gonna do it."
God,
And-
dads are idiots. Dads, can we just say that? Like,
But
dads.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. To his credit, just like you, when you got off, you felt proud that you faced your fear. It was kind of like it made me feel stupid. I was like, yeah, it hurts, but it's not like I'm fine. And ever since then, every time I would get hit by a ball, it was kind of like a badge of honor. It was like, yeah, I can take that.
I was hoping you were gonna say he did it and he broke my nose, and I didn't.
No,
I didn't
No.
speak to my dad for 2 weeks.
No, it was almost kind of like it made me feel silly. And then after that, I was like, all right, I guess I'm not afraid of it. Every dad, I'm sure, will do it to my son. You'll do it to your son. You force your kid to do something because you know they're being irrational about it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, then that's part of. Listen. Every dad needs to bully their son to a degree. Like, there's always.
You're into that piranha water. You're going to be fine, you
Good for
sissy.
you. Good for you.
So
We're gonna look